Then the next topic number 5. We need to understand the organization structure and key stakeholder motivation. So we need to understand how the organization structures based on the business goal, driver, and the strategy. So we need to do a quick overview of architecture of executive role and understand what is important to them. So in fact, if you want to be successful as an enterprise architect, you need to be able to understand your big boss's KPI. What are the KPI they have in their performance review? Then from there, you can tailor your architecture to deliver that KPI. That is something very interesting. But if you are already struggling delivering your KPI, forget about helping your boss KPI. I remember in my previous job, I deliver my KPI fully, and I deliver some of my KPI of my boss and some of the KPI of my boss. So basically, I'm delivering some of the KPI of my boss, some of the KPI of my boss, which is the GM of the country. Of course, when you do that, it's not a surprise that they give me the highest award, because I am not only fulfilling my KPI, but I'm helping my boss KPI and my boss KPI. So this is the job of architects. If you want to be successful in your career, you try to understand what is your boss KPI and try to deliver his KPI. But of course, if you cannot deliver your KPI, don't try to deliver your boss or your boss KPI. You deliver your KPI first. Then from there, you find an opportunity. How can you deliver your boss KPI? And your boss guarantee will protect you, will depend on you more. And after that, deliver your boss KPI. And your boss KPI will notice about you. That is not a secret, but seldom people do that. And I've done that a couple of times. And it works. And the career of working is very, very rewarding. Then you relate your architecture proposal to both the executive and the company strategy. This is very, very important. You cannot say, oh, my architecture based on a particular vendor. No, you can't do that. You have to look at the particular executive. Who are your project sponsor? Who are the executive that's sponsoring you? You need to understand their KPI and also the company strategy. This is the key to be successful in your career. And after that, you need to understand how your architecture requirement relate to the business strategy and how they get presented to the key stakeholders. This slide is, I would say, is also another secret to be successful in life. Regardless you are performing as the job of architect, performing to be regardless whether in IT professional, etc. Every employee need to have this mindset. We need to know how can we fulfill our job, our duty. You need to deliver. You must treat that every task given to you as your own baby. Then from there, you can be excel. Then you try to deliver your boss KPI and your boss KPI. Then connect that to the entire business strategy and the entire company vision and mission. Then you understand the business driver for the corporate executive. Of course, in the most cases, financial driver is part of their goal. And this is only for the non-government. If the government, their goal could be the citizen index, citizen happiness. So not about financial driver. This financial driver is only for those commercial company, profit listed company. So we need to understand their current performance, again, these financial drivers. And from there, we can know how to right size our solution and the level of risk that are acceptable. So this is very, very important when we are talking about 2 million is expensive. It depends. If your company a few billion dollar company, 2 million is nothing. But if your company 5 million or 10 million, 2 million is big. So we need to put everything into the right context and the level. Then we need to also applying the concept of motivating driver in meeting the implied needs of the senior executive. So this is an example. Let me just read for you. When meeting with the CIO of the telco firm, a consulting architects get a request to assess the current accounting system and suggest solution to meet the growing needs for the company. After brief meeting with each of the core executive from the company, the architect assess the role, influence, and driver for each of the executive to discover that field operation costs are the primary cost point. So in this context, the architect understand what is actually the key executive concerns. Their concern is more on the field operation costs as the primary cost point. Then the primary goal of the company is to drive the cost of this operation down, and as part of that, limit the internal operational costs. So the architect begin to focus on keeping costs down for the new solution, the time to recover costs versus time to implement and reduction of manual effort over time. This type of thinking help our architects successfully communicate the solution, both in terms of the functional requirement and the implied requirement. So by meeting the implied need of the executive, the solution get approved. This is very, very interesting. Let me just share with you another example. This is actually one of the real example. One of our trainer many years back left my team, and he actually joined as the group CIO of one of the largest investment arm. And interestingly, when he after he joined that group company, he shared with us. Actually, I invited him to present in the event. Then he said that in the first 100 days, he revived a project that has been put on hold by the previous CIO. So what happened is that he said that he looked at the project is very, very good, got the business value, but the title of the project and justification are not aligned with what the business goal of the company at the time. And what he did was that he just changed the title of the project and adjust the goal of the project to be carried out. And immediately that project got approval. This is a very, very interesting phenomenon. Of course, this person also has been teaching these courses a couple of times. So he understood the impact on the adjusting what actually we are trying to do with the intent of the organization. So he aligning. Actually, he didn't do much. The previous CIO was done a good job, but he put the title wrongly. He put the title like using a technology term, whereby actually he felt that the title is supposed to be addressing the business concern, business needs. And because of that, the project get approved and the project went live. So this is something that we need to understand the implied needs. Sometimes we think too much on the technical and we forget about delivering business value. And of course, this is another interesting comparison between architects and the finance team that both cover the entire organization. So business speak language of finance. And of course, as we know that architects also must be able to speak the business language. Finance control how money moves in and out and around a company. And architect controls all information flow through IT system. Similar, one is controlling about financial numbers. One is controlling about information through the network, through the application. So finance is connected to every level of the organization where significant amount of money are affected, and architect is connected to every line of business, whereby every line of business also investing, putting the budget for their IT expenditure. So we need to have some sort of a mindset, like earlier I mentioned, about the investor. When you talk about finance, it's always talking about dollar and cents. So architect also need to talk about dollar and cents. We need to know to show the value about what is investment return that we are talking about here. This is something that has never been taught before, but in most of the, if you attend any architecture training, etc., they will just talk to you about TCP/IP, about the XML, and etc. This is talking about the finance. And did you notice at this point in time, I want to highlight that it's not all, but many of those IT people who are successful in their life and breakthrough into the senior management, typically they are complemented with the MBA. So somehow in their life, they knew that they are lacking of the business terminology or the business knowledge, and these IT people took the so-called MBA to supplement the business knowledge. This is exactly the business technology strategy all about. The IASA path on the training path to become the business architect exactly teaching you for this sweet spot. We need to understand the business, we need to communicate the business lingo so that we can be seen valuable in the business eyes. Enterprise architect need also to understand how the finance team is structured and organized. So in here, we typically got the CFO, and then we need to know the financial management group, asset management group, and then under financial management group, got financial reporting division, got the analysis, and got validation branch, and of course, the got budget, and etc. So in fact, enterprise architect need to know the rest of the organization structure. And of course, this one can be done using the organization viewpoint, using the Archimate, for us to define the entire structure of the organization and also the role within that particular department. And of course, you want to deliver value, you cannot avoid this type of the 7 accounting building blocks. So this is just a preview on the what you will learn in the business technology strategy. You want to deliver value, you need to know this jargon. You need to talk about income. Yeah, so what is income? So income is a one-time transaction that give money to the business. So we need to talk about this lingo. We don't talk TCP/IP to the business. You need to talk about income. What income we are talking about after we release this version 1.1. Then we need to look at the expense. So what sort of expenditure that we can save? Yeah, so expense here is the one-time transaction that take money away from the business. Then we need to talk about asset. So it's simply anything that the business owns. So we need to know about liability. It's simply anything that the business owes. So architect need to start understanding this type of the jargon. And of course, the owner equity. An owner equity is the amount of company asset that belong to the owner of the company. And of course, credit and debit. We also need to know. So you want to be successful delivering value, business technology strategy, you need to learn more on this. More on the accounting, more on the financial, or the jargon like the net present value, ROI, and etc. So very, very important for us to use this terminology to show value of our technology to the business. So this is my last topic on the understanding your business to develop a technology strategy. Again, this statement has been repeated many times. Understanding the business is very, very essential. And we need to base our technology strategy on the business goal, not on the vendor roadmap. Then look at the opportunity to lead the business strategy and understanding how we can demonstrate leadership and innovation. For instance, we're talking about this. How could technology be used to increase business outcome by 20%? Are there low-cost innovation technology that could meet the business goal? So something we need to have a look up, what we call it low-hanging fruit. Why this matter? Business cannot survive without IT, and IT has no place without business. So basically, business technology strategy are in the equal playing field. So the message actually is both for the business team. They cannot ignore the IT, they cannot ignore the technology, as well as the IT team cannot ignore the business. So of course, some of the organization is that they change their division from the IT to become a BT. So by changing the name from the information technology to the business technology, the IT department start realizing that there's the word business there. I need to get interest in the business. I need to know the business more, and I need to have more integration with my business team. So basically is that there is no separation between business and IT, as both groups serve the customer of the organization. So it's an opportunity today in the digital transformation that business and IT need to work together. Yeah, so we need to be able to translate our business requirement into the technical requirement and provide traceability. This is something that only enterprise architecture, digital enterprise architecture map can give us the traceability. Otherwise, we cannot show the traceability what we do in the IT to the business. I'm going to show with you in the next couple of slides. And not only architect must speak the language on the business, but must also have in-depth understanding on the business vision and overall strategy. It's very, very important. So hopefully you have listened to my over an hour presentation. You have opened your mind how important it is to know about the business. And of course, the good news is that not only in this slide, I just tell you that you need to know to be closer with the business, but actually they got the official curriculum that can teach you how to apply this into the real life. Because the ITA book, the body of knowledge, has packaged that into the training and certification, and we have delivered this training since 2010, so about 10 years in the industry already. And the business may have an ambiguous vision and all non-existent strategy. This is the reality of life, but with a desire just to execute. So architect as a trusted advisor and leader are expected to navigate and manage such situation. So basically, sometimes we need to be to live in the real world, whereby we only have partial information. We don't have full information, but we need to navigate this information to bring our competitive advantage. So this is the example on how we can use a digital map, digital tool for architect. So basically, we can do a so-called the motivation and strategy layer. We can do a modeling. Then from there, we can model that to the business. We know exactly which are the business layer. By the way, this is about the Archimate. Yeah, so for those of you who have applied Archimate, so this is something that you have to do. and it's no way you can do this manually. You need to have the digital EA tool to navigate all this that give you the impact analysis and also the full dashboard capability. So from there, we know the motivation and strategy, then we impact to the business. Then after that, we know exactly which one are impacted at the application layers. Then from there, which are the technology layers or infrastructure impacted. And from there, we look at how the information flow or information structure that's supporting the business application and the technology. And the last part is where on the implementation and project layer, whereby you can do the justification in terms of the project value and the investment prioritization. So with this digital enterprise map, we can make a faster decision making. We can perform impact analysis. We can understand our current situation at hand. We can understand enterprise dependency. This is very, very important because our enterprise is complex today, especially today during working from home. We can't visit our enterprise, but we know somewhere there, and this digital map will help us to navigate our enterprise complexity and perform enterprise troubleshooting. And the most important is that we can perform the transformation through the map. So this is the example on the business application and infrastructure layers. So when we have the business layer defined, we know exactly that which application, which are the infrastructure layer that's supporting the higher level, so that we can do a necessary troubleshooting, we can do the necessary impact analysis, and we can do a necessary transformation by having this live diagram about our enterprise. The same thing with the motivation with our key stakeholders. We can understand where the business layer, application layer that's supporting the business, and how the application itself fulfilling the requirement of the key stakeholders and the infrastructure supporting the application. So this is something that are very, very practical, and many organizations actually don't have this diagram live. I'm talking live is that everything need to be clickable, and this one can be turned into the dashboard for decision-making process. And this is the example on the key stakeholders of the board of director that have a driver in terms of the sales target and the stakeholder satisfaction, and the customer that also need want to be satisfied, and also customer want to have the product info and competitive pricing. So let me focus on the stakeholders in terms of the board of director that want to have high profitability. So how can we apply our business technology to address the key stakeholders in terms of the profitability? So this is the example on the strategy modeling using the Archimate. Yeah. So basically here we can see is that the strategy is about digital customer intimacy strategy and need to be supported by two capability. The first is that we need to have digital customer management capability and data-driven insurance. This is actually the example taken from Archisurance. If you have taken the Archimate before, then you can recall this situation. And this strategy actually deliver to outcome. We can deliver detailed insight in customer behavior, so we can do analysis. And we can also deliver the outcome of best-in-class online customer experience. And with that, we can deliver a higher customer satisfaction, and we can give competitive pricing to the client. And with that, we can increase our market share, and which in turn increase in revenue, and which in turn give us higher profitability. And that high profitability, we satisfy the board of directors. So this is something that we need to analyze, and all this information are actually available in the typical organization. So we need just to model this and to understand this so that we can present this to the senior management. Yeah. So with the digital EA platform, we can target various key stakeholders and the business as the head of strategy, business architect, chief digital officer, chief information officer, enterprise architect, technology portfolio manager, project portfolio manager, application, actually anything, any of the key stakeholders that we want to address, we can configure our digital map and our dashboard to suit them, because that is the job of architect. The mandate of architect is to address the business concern. So with that strategic EA function, we can use enterprise architecture as the command and control to control all on the left-hand side here about the business strategic planning, IT strategic planning, digital transformation planning, and the top one is about portfolio management, operational risk management, procurement, vendor management, technology management, as well as all the solutioning. Okay, with that, I think I want to thank you for the time.